Hello and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Intern Dan, and today we're going to take a look at a prototype of Ignite by Darren Terpstra and Ginger Snap Gaming.
Ignite is a 2 to 8 player deck builder that features a modular board and minis for tactical combat.
We have the base game and the expansion with over 1,000 cards. Looks like a lot of fun. Ryan mentioned the minis, and in this prototype we don't have those minis, but they look great. They're going to be a lot of fun to play with. Let's dive in and take a look at the prototype.
To set up the board, place land tiles out in a grid using whichever land features you desire. The tiles are dual-sided, so you can pick either the front or the back. The village, where you purchase cards, will always be around the outside of the board.
Select 16 sets of battle cards, which will form the market for purchasing.
Each player will receive an identical 12-card deck and will then choose their race followed by their starting location for their units on the board.
On your turn, you will first resolve any beginning of turn effects. You might have a card that stayed on the table, or some other effect that is revealed or removed at the beginning of your turn.
After this, you begin your action phase. This is where you'll play your cards, which will allow you to move, purchase, and attack your opponents.
You can choose to use a card for its printed action, which might be moving a character, using a weapon to attack, or casting a spell. These actions can be done in any order and as often as your cards allow. If I have a bow and 3 arrows, I can choose to fire each one of those arrows at the same or different targets.
Instead of the action, you can use the honor on the card to purchase the other cards in the market. For every unit you have in the village, you are able to buy a card. There's even a bazaar space where you can trash a card from your hand in order to gain honor equal to the card's value.
You finish your turn by discarding any used or purchased cards, as well as any left in your hand. Then you draw back up to your hand limit and play continues.
Each unit has 3 hit points and will die if it's hit successfully 3 times. When a unit is killed, the attacking player keeps that unit as a trophy. Once a player collects a certain amount of trophies, they win and the game is over. One of the things I liked about this game was the fact that each player has a different power. For instance, my power let me have an additional card in my hand during the game, but consequently, everything cost 1 more to me. So it was a little hard at times to buy things because I always was like, I've got 10, no, I can only buy 9s. So it was a little difficult, but it was cool that I was different from Dan when we were playing.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's one thing that I like about this compared to some other deck builders. You have, first off, 1,000 cards that you get to choose from. And that's a lot of different options. I love that in a deck builder. I love deck builders, so this was right in my alley. Having those variable faction powers was great. It really kind of felt like if you merged Dominion and Clank a little bit, because you've got the board, you're moving around, but you're fighting each other, but it has more of a Dominion-y feel in that you have your set of cards that you're buying to try and create some kind of engine that you can play with. It was a lot of fun as a deck builder. I agree, the player faction powers were awesome to play with as well.
There are so many cards to play with and to choose from to put into your game. So there's just all sorts of variability. And then when you are playing the game, you've got a 16-card market. It might be a little overwhelming at first, but there's just so many possibilities. You can make just the perfect hand. And it really depends on your playstyle. For instance, Dan, he was very ranged, and I think he used a lot of magic abilities.
Yes.
And I was very melee-oriented, which put me at a disadvantage, and then suddenly I won, which I needed to bring up because I enjoy winning and
on his very
Dan's
last
face.
turn. Can't forget that. But yeah, that was neat, seeing those different aspects, different play styles come through. I really like some of the features in the game that I think are a little different, maybe more unique to this game. Such as the bazaar. You know, a lot of deck builders, you're forced to wait for something to trash a card in your hand, or you have to buy a certain card that lets you do that, or just waste a turn. Here you have the bazaar where I can proactively choose to go to this place, throw out one of my cards from my deck entirely, and also get a benefit from it because it gave me honor to then buy with. I also really enjoyed some of the battlefield components and the terrain components. For example, if you're in a water space, that's attached to a larger lake, Ryan could hit that lake with a lightning bolt and the electricity would travel and hit me. The same would go for a forest. If I'm in a piece of that and he shot a fire arrow into the forest, in theory the forest catches on fire and I'm dealt damage as well. So I thought that brought some unique play styles to the game, and I really enjoyed some of those.
Yeah, another feature that I really enjoy, speaking of water, was the water minions that you play with when you have more than 2 players and you get eliminated. You then use this water minion and you can still rack up the trophies you need to win. So even though you might be eliminated from the game, you can still come back and win. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it really kept kept downtime to a minimum, because even if you die in the first 15 minutes, well, you still can play with your friends. You're not the odd man out. You're not going to get Cheetos. You're there playing the game and having fun. And even during the game, even if it's not your turn, you're waiting on maybe Ryan's going to attack you or some other player is going to attack you. So you're always aware of what's going on, and it keeps you from just being isolated waiting for your turn. I also really enjoyed the art. It was well done. It was consistent. Sometimes in deck builders, if they have different artists, you get different styles, and it's really obvious to tell. Everything was consistent. It looked good. It really fit with the theme. Really brought it to life.
If this sounds of interest to you, be sure to check out Ignite on Kickstarter, and also stay tuned to our channel because we'll have a playthrough video for this as well. See ya. I can't let it die. Just gotta...
And potentially win the game.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
What if you're in a 2-player game?
Well, no, that doesn't count.
My card let me have my
Good start.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1.